the beautiful Papua New Guinea, my childhood home. Okay, I'm going to keep this presentation quite short because there's some people in this room with a lot of experience as well in research partnerships and training partnerships, and we want to hear from all of you. Graham mentioned our organisation, the Australian Centre of Excellence for Local Government. Our secretariat is in Sydney, but we are a partnership, a consortium. Our partners are on this slide, and I'd like to particularly acknowledge Lauren Oakey, who's from our Local Government Managers Association, one of our lead partners, and Graham, of course, who actually helped set up the centre in 2009. Our mandate is here on the slide. It's aligned with quite a lot of things we've been talking about: building skills in local government, showcasing innovation, learning from each other, and also facilitating a better informed policy debate, so evidence-based to inform policy and practice. Very quickly, this is our structure. There's our chair, the Honorary Margaret Reynolds, a former local government minister at the national level. I'm just showing this slide. Just the bottom row of the slide has 6 areas, and one of those is the research and policy area, which we'll be focusing on today. But research, in fact, underpins all program areas of organisation. Graham touched on a few elements of our research program, and they're just in this diagram here. So we commission research, we do research in partnership with councils. We have a big focus on disseminating our research so that people in local government actually know about it and learn about it. And increasingly looking at support for local government people themselves to do research. And I'll be talking about these elements very briefly today in my presentation. Okay, one of the important reasons for setting up the centre was to really try and build a local government knowledge base. The contribution of local government researchers to the overall research and development outputs of Australia was very low, and this was recognised by the people who set up the centre. So a research advisory committee was established. It's now chaired by Professor Lawrence Pratchett from the University of Canberra, and that committee oversees the work we do. And I'm pleased to say that we've produced over 60 papers in the time that we've been running around a whole range of topics, and these issues are really in common with many of the things local government are facing in the Pacific. So financial sustainability, challenges of managing infrastructure, ageing infrastructure, especially for our small rural councils, developing the skills of our workforce, strengthening leadership, giving a voice to local government when they're dealing with other levels of government, better engaging communities, and something Lauren and I were speaking about, the relationship between elected officials and the staff of councils, something we also, I know it's an issue in the Pacific, it's certainly one for Australian councils, and we have papers on those. We've held several research forums around Australia, and I'm pleased to say we've had over 500 now, academics, local government practitioners and policymakers involved. And they've been held in every jurisdiction except the Northern Territory, and I'm pleased to say we'll be in Darwin in September. So you've been given an introduction today to some of Australian politics, which is good by Alan. It was also a pleasure to be able to speak with Megan about this forum and share some of our experience in running this inaugural Pacific Local Government Roundtable. However, what did emerge was that despite our efforts, the majority of people presenting at these events were academics and consultants and so on. We really wanted to see more people who work in local government. They're the ones with experience, and we wanted to encourage them. So we undertook a number of things. One of them was to set up a research partnership program with councils. We're in the good position because of federal funding to be able to provide some seed funds for the research, up to 20,000. We encourage council partners to provide 10. Sometimes it might just be 1 here, 2 there. And between us, we would be able to put together quite a decent proposal. And we've now undertaken 15 partnerships, producing some very interesting work. No time to discuss today, but I have brought a list of all our publications, and it's also on our website if you're interested. So the emphasis on these is building research capacity, drawing on the practical and that local knowledge people have been speaking about a lot today, and having an applied focus. So yes, we do need to do research on the shape, the nature, the future of local government, some of the theoretical questions, but people were saying to us we want really applied research. My paper, which I'm finishing, addresses some of the things we've learnt from the process, the challenges, but also the strengths of the approach. And since climate change has been on the agenda, this is one of our most recently completed partnerships. You'll see here quite a few councils from Australia were involved. We were able to draw on that local knowledge in producing case studies, but the emphasis was on practical tools. As someone said, it's a crowded space. There's a lot of talk and a lot of material on climate change, but when we did research, we found very few were really embedding climate change into their day-to-day operations. So that's just one example that I wanted to mention in this brief time together. The other thing we learnt was that we did some research on how to encourage our practitioners to contribute more, and we found that the problems people were having were just so busy in their day jobs, they didn't have time to do writing papers, so they didn't feel confident often in their skills to write and to do research. And frankly, they didn't have the same motivation as an academic does to stand up in front of people and present work. So we've been thinking how to encourage it, and it's something I'd love to see a discussion later. We ran a special workshop last November for people interested in contributing to our forum in Melbourne that we held in April. And we had mentors for the people there so that they could be encouraged in how to write and to carry that right through. And I'm pleased to say a lot of those people actually did present their work for the first time in Melbourne, and we hope that that will be a growing part of our program. So in our research, these are some of the strengths that practitioners identified, and I think you can appreciate these. That practitioners do bring a unique knowledge and a unique contribution, and we need to harness that. When practitioners are themselves researching and writing, it adds to the credibility of local government as a whole, not just for themselves personally. The other thing they said was that contributes to a culture of learning and lifelong learning. If you're examining, evaluating your work, writing it up, sharing it, it helps the organisation with its goals to really have lifelong learning in the organisation. The research we did also looked at barriers and strengths, and I did just want to read one quote from one of our participants in terms of barriers, and she just said, lack of time, unless undertaken as part of the job, there's often not enough time to enrol in formal study or even write papers outside of work hours. Lack of confidence, mentoring is really important. Outside of formal institutions, there's often inadequate supervision within organisations to ensure good research. And then lack of motivation. So that's a challenge for us as universities and as associations to think, how do we support people who know so much and have so much to offer, but just for these barriers, they're not really contributing. I'll just touch briefly, Graham asked me to also talk briefly about our training and learning programs, which are also run in partnership. I've just mentioned 3 in the slide. We have a leadership program run by ANZOG, which is the Australian New Zealand School of Governance, led by Mark Evans at the University of Canberra. That's the picture on the left. We're very fortunate to partner with LGMA in running the Management Challenge, which is a creative and innovative way to build skills through competitions between councils on a day's series of events. And we also are involved in elected members programs, which I know are happening across the Pacific as well. Our partnership there is like the Association in Local Government New South Wales, the UTS Centre for Local Government, the university-based centre, and also our vocational organisation, TAFE New South Wales. So in terms of some key learnings, a lot I could say, but look, the respect, I think, is sort of the thing that just keeps coming to mind. Respect for the contribution that each partner brings. Can't underestimate that. Often we're seen as just a funding body, and really the challenge is to get beyond that, to see that everyone brings not just money, but they're actually bringing research skills and oversight. And so our efforts have been to make our partnerships really genuinely collaborative. And I think that the donor the development partners here would probably appreciate that, that as well. Very briefly, we produce resources, and I'm really happy to share these with you. They're also on our website. We produced on the right there, Make Your Knowledge Matter, very plain English, simple guide for people working in local government, but it's not to demystify it. We're really talking about a range of contributions, be it a case study, an opinion piece, not just formal research as part of the contribution, and we outline how to go about doing that. Well, that's the end of my formal presentation. I've put some questions up for discussion because really I'm very interested as well to learn how our Pacific partners and neighbours are also working with universities, with local government associations to support the local government, local level governance with research and training. So these are some questions, but we do have another couple of people on our panel, and I think Graham will take it from here.